My love of the Monte Carlo began about I don't know, what was it? 81 or so? 82 when I got the orange one, the 77. And I had it for several years. It went through a paint job and wheels and tires and three motors, 305, another 305, 402 big block. And I was going to fix it up when I got out of the Navy in 1993, and I started taking it apart, and I found out that it was rusted pretty bad. You could put your fist through the hole in the back of the filler panel there at the far right. Yeah, right there. It was pretty ugly. The fenders were rotten, the floor, you could Fred Flintstone right there, use your feet for brakes. But I moved it to the backyard of the townhome we were living in, and I started sandblasting on it. And, I wanted to fix it, and I found out it was pretty bad. So I started adding up panels in my head, and it was going to get too expensive. So a friend of mine, he had that Monte Carlo, and we were talking about working on it together. I can't remember what year that was. That's Dan's, one of my shipmates from the USS Leyte Gulf. But he ended up taking me down to Titusville, Florida, because I knew the 77 was doomed. It was doomed for the crusher. Pulled the big block out of it, I think from a tree. And I went down to Titusville with Dan, and we bought the 70. And I got it back. I ended up getting disability, VA disability, and I decided I was going to paint this thing because it needed it. And it had a little bit of rust on it. So I took it to a guy working out of a mini warehouse, and, relatively inexpensive paint job. And of course you get what you pay for. It didn't look too bad when it was done, but I mean, it looked better than what you see here. I asked him to pop the glass out and cut the rust out, and I thought he did it, but it came back to haunt me years later. But yeah, this is it in the mini warehouse, and I mean, he did a good job taking the trim off and everything. And I mean, if he'd done a little bit better prep on it, it probably would have lasted quite a bit longer. So yeah, the car, he did do some pretty decent work on it, and it was okay for a while. But this car, after I got it back from Titusville, the 350 burned about a crankcase of oil during that trip from Titusville back to Jacksonville. So I had taken the 402 big block out of the 77 with the 400 behind it, and set them aside. Basically took it to the auto hobby shop and put the motor and transmission from the 77 into this car. So before it went to paint, I had put the motor and trans in it. Yeah, motor and trans, some paint, the wheels. I had to buy new wheels. The Monte Carlo 77 Monte Carlo wheels would not fit, but I did use the rubber. So yeah, as a recently separated Navy veteran, I didn't have a whole lot of money. I was working at AutoZone and going to school at the same time, trying to get my associate degree. But Dan and I were able to scrape up enough money to get both the cars looking pretty good. He put a facto bake job on his and my mini warehouse job. We washed them up one day, decided to have a photo shoot at the driveway of the townhome that me and the wife were living at the time. And it was right there off base too. So all my shipmates from the USS Leyte Gulf used to come by and hang out with us and barbecue and enjoy ourselves. So we had kind of a little car club going on, the car guys. But yeah, both the cars turned out pretty nice. He ended up taking his to Hawaii, where it rusted out from underneath him. And I think he regretted selling it, but it is what it is. It was a cool looking G-body, in my opinion. I do have my 86 Grand Prix T-top car. So there's somebody's Triumph back in the background there. I think, who did that belong to? Was it Steve or Chuck? I don't remember. Yeah, the sun was going down on our time in Jacksonville, and we moved to North Carolina in '97. I took a job with Bell South, and the car sat there and started to go to crap. And so I decided it was time to beg for help, and made a video with my youngest, Kyle, at the time, to try and get some assistance making it nice again. Hey, Search and Restore guys, this is Mark Derscheid. I just wanted you to see my car that I love, that I've had since '93, second owner, or third owner, sorry. 70 Monte Carlo, big block under the hood. It runs kinda, transmission's puking all over the place from the front. I just tried to get it running. I need help. I'm a disabled veteran, I'm 40% disabled. Got psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, and I think I might even have fibromyalgia now. Joy. Anyway, walk around, Kyle. Show them the car. It needs a little help. The interior's not bad, but it needs to be redone. Here. Back away. Pull the cover off. I try and keep it covered. Walk around the back, buddy. This is my 9-year-old cameraman. So, I made it straight. It's got a little rust here. I know they make a piece to replace this. Of course, you can see the back rear deck and the back of the top of the back seat need to be redone. But come over here and unsee this side. Look in the camera so you can see what you're looking at. But like I said, it's pretty straight. It's got a little rust here in the hood, just a small spot. The car's solid. So the only rust is that hood. Ooh, somebody dented it. How'd that happen? Little ding. And it's rust in here. I wanted to. That's bad. You probably poke a screwdriver through it, but just cut it out. It's all solid. Anyway, it'd be a good car to work with. I'm just hurting too much nowadays to do it. 4 kids, can't afford it. Let's put it back on me. Yeah, me and the car are the star. Anyway, I'm so busy I coach the youth bowling league, and I've been a leader in Cub Scouts for both of them for about 10 years. And I'm just out of time and don't have a whole lot of money to do it. So I'd love to do it myself, but physically it's getting where it's hard for me to turn a wrench with the arthritis in my hands, my back, neck. Anyway, consider my car. I think we could make a bad ride out of it, and I want to. Sooner or later, it needs to get done. So I hope you to consider me, and I'd be really appreciative of it. And you guys do great work. I love your shows. I watch them all. So I'd like to see my car on your show. Take care. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. Back in '94, my wife, when she was pregnant, while I was out driving trucks because I couldn't find a job when I got out of the Navy, decided that she was going to help restore the car. So she took out my seals, my headliner, my mirror, my visors, and now the car is really, I can't leave it out in the weather because there's no window seals. There's a big gap right there. So yeah, I keep it covered. So anyway, it's all here pretty much. Chrome's good. Like I said, I appreciate it. Thank you. So I was begging for help, trying to get the car put back together again. I ended up buying wheels and, I ended up buying new tires because it was sitting on the ground. The tread had blown off. The tires had perfect tread, but it was blown off. So we took it with the new wheels or the new tires on it. We took it to Man-Made Legends. I was going to have just the rust cut out of it, and maybe paint it, but it ended up becoming more. It ended up being ground up restoration. So there's Alex back in the day. Alex helped me gut the car after we had it media blasted. They did some metal work, cut out the filler panel between the trunk and the rear window, and they fabbed the rear window corners. So that's all new metal. We basically we blew this car apart. You can see the NASCAR template in the background there. But yeah, man, they let me do some of my own work, which was kind of fun, and teach the boys a little bit. That's where I got Alex started working on cars, and Alex and Kyle used putty knives to scrub the adhesive from the carpet backer off the floor pans, and we got her cleaned up good, and they put her into primer after doing all the metal work. The cowl had rust at the bottom, the fenders had rust at the bottom, and behind the wheels, so all that got fixed. All new metal where it needed new metal. They got her in primer like you see here, and got her straight, and it came out pretty nice. This whole thing took 7+ years to do, and we were test fitting some wheels and tires just to see what they looked like. Bob had a Tri-5 Chevy he pulled them off of that he was changing wheels and tires on, and so we just wanted to see what it would look like with some 5 spokes. But after she got painted, that's what the wheels looked like there. That's what we ended up with. But there she is in the paint booth. This is Fathom Blue, a factory color. It's got some small metallic flake in it. It really pops in the sun. I ended up redoing the marker lights myself. I tried to do all the small stuff I could. So pulled them apart, painted them, glued them back together, and I also painted the lenses from the inside with amber to make them fresh again, so that the car would look complete. But I think they turned out pretty good. What do you think? This is the Turbo 400 that we never used because I ended up winning a transmission from Monster Transmission. Here's the video.
The following video is brought to you by International Shift Awareness Month, helping lazy people get down the road via automatic transmission since 1921.
I'm Mark. I am hoping you guys will consider me for a Monster Transmission. I'm a veteran. I'm also a disabled veteran. I've got psoriasis and arthritis, which prevent me from working on my car when I want to.
Sympathy vote.
So I've kind of got it in the shop right now. It's been here for about 4 years. We've got a 70 Monte Carlo. You can see the front clip there on the floor. Ignore the Ford engine. It's a 402 big block with no transmission behind it at this point. The car has been derusted. All the metal's been cut out that was bad. This has taken years and a little bit at a time. I've collected parts for this thing since 1993. That's how long I've owned it. It was a driver at one time, and then my wife got a hold of it and took all of the window seals and drip rails and the interior parts out that made it weather worthy, and it's pretty much sat from that point on. So she took a good driver, and she was wanting to restore it, and that's what we're doing now, finally, after all these years of having the car. It's got a Ford 9-inch rear end in it now. It's got a Ride Tech Level 2 air suspension. My son, who's also in the Navy, he's a ET nuke, Jeff. He basically paid for the air suspension. We'll take a look around it. And so here's my 70 Monte Carlo. That's just part of it. The rest of it's right here. You can see it's ready for paint now. The rust was cut out back here. Panel was replaced. This whole filler panel has been replaced. These corners were fabbed. The sail panel on the other side of the car in here had a rust hole. There was some rust
This whole cowl top was replaced. The bottom of the cowl has been replaced. The fenders both had rot at the bottom. They were fixed with fresh metal. But the jewel, the beauty of this whole thing is what's sitting right there now. Gonna have to get some new wheels one of these days. They won't work with the air ride. The 402 big block with the March Performance serpentine system on it. All the brackets I had were homemade because this came out of a 72 Suburban and it wouldn't work in here. So now I have something that's going to be functional. There's the 402. It's been freshly rebuilt. It's got Edelbrock heads on it. It was built by Mark Ambrosini, who used to build engines for Dale Earnhardt. The frame's been powder coated, so it's been off the frame. Basically, we've got fresh headers. Like I said, the powder coated frame. The underside's all been cleaned up and painted. There's the Ford 9-inch rear end up underneath there, and the air suspension came with sway bars front and rear. New gas tank. Like I said, I've been collecting parts for a while, and I've spent a little bit of money. That's why I need help with the transmission. So we're looking for some sympathy and some charity, a little support from the motorhead community. As you can see, there's no transmission. Well, there's sort of a transmission up there.
Dad, I don't want to be a transmission.
Shut up and be a 4L80E, son. The floors were really in good shape. I've got a couple small holes that still need to be patched, but the trunk is solid. It's a great car. I picked a good one in '93 when I got it from Titusville, Florida, while I was living in Jacksonville. I had just gotten out of the Navy. Basically, I'm looking forward to getting this thing running, and about the only way to get it running is to get the transmission in it, get the exhaust hooked up, and then we can start this thing. Once we get it rolling and functional, then we can worry about painting it and putting the interior back in it. But you can see that Man-Made Legends here has done a really good job of helping me get this car put back together. We're looking at taking it to shows and maybe taking it down to cruising the coast. So I need a good overdrive for taking it down to cruising the coast, especially with this thing in it. It's I'm not sure what kind of. It's 400 horse, 440 foot-pounds of torque out of that 402. So looking forward to driving this thing, and I'll put a monster sticker on my back windshield, I promise.
And you talk about doing the little things to try and save a little money. Well, this isn't all that little. A file and some sandpaper and 720 squares in the grill of a 70 Monte Carlo, because well, you can't really find these things. So if you ever wreck one, yeah, you're in a world of hurt unless you custom make something. But you can tell that the zinc pot metal garbage was pretty bad. And I sat on the couch and watched television and did that for a long time. Took it back to Man-Made after I'd masked it off, and the painter there was kind enough to help me out. He took it in the booth and painted the grid black for me. I washed the seat belts, hung them out to dry on the holly bushes, and I'm sure the neighbors in the HOA loved that. But you know what? I'm so glad I'm not in the HOA anymore. Back to Man-Made Legends. The car is getting closer to being complete. They working on the interior, all the sound deadening in that car. That car is so quiet. But custom leather seats with Chevelle bucket foam. Bob put those together for me, and I think they turned out real nice. I kind of let him have artistic free reign. The big block engine's back in there, built by Mark Ambrosini. He used to build for Dale Earnhardt Sr. Bob worked on the door panels. We put the power antenna that I'd bought in 1993 in, and the Blawpunk speakers that I'd also bought about the same time, back when you saw the car getting its first paint job. Bob built a custom package tray for the rear speakers. He also did a custom dash using the the new dash I bought. But I think the interior turned out nice. We decided to bag it. It's got a Ride Tech Level 2 air ride system in it. My oldest son kind of split the cost on with me. So under the package tray on that shelf is where all the compressors and the tank and stuff are hidden. They did a custom fit. They narrowed the rear end a 1/2 inch on either side. That's all you could do, really. It's a 9-inch. It's got Willwood disc brakes, US mag 5 spokes that were custom offset for the build. There's the numbers if any Monte Carlo people out there want to know the sizes for their own car. But that was when they got the wheels and they put them on it just to get a look at it. And of course, a lot of these were pictures taken by made by Bob, and he'd send them to me when I wasn't able to get up there. Not that it was that far away from where we lived, but he kept me drooling. It's wrapped in Nittos, all 4 corners. We decided to go with Vitec and Dakota Digital gauges, custom billet steering wheel. It's got a nice Bluetooth enabled stereo system in it, and Bob built that as well. So there's the air ride from Ride Tech. It's got tubular everything that goes around corners like it's on rails. There's the door panels Bob cobbled up, and the dashboard that still has the vents in it. This guy really knows what he's doing when it comes to interior and sound. I got to give him credit where credit's due. A lot of custom pieces made, the speaker grills, the door panels, like I said. You can see the progress on those. Just really nice work. And, I mean, you can't ask for much better than that. So if you need that kind of work done, Man-Made Legends, Bob is top notch. That I cannot complain. They did use a lot of the old pieces that we could use, sail panels and interior panels. Didn't want to get too crazy with the interior. I was kind of trying to stay on a budget, which really, at this point, it was no longer a budget. It's like, oh yeah, let's do this. Oh yeah, let's do this. Let's cut a little metal out and paint it. Now, and it turned out to, let's take it off the frame and powder coat the frame. Put a airbag modern tubular suspension on it. And yeah, so headliner got redone. There's the seat belts I washed. I did that. I still need to replace that mirror. It's not the greatest. That don't matter. It's okay. There's a 59 Rancho front clip in front of it because that's cool. I'm just videoing. It's easier than taking pictures, in my opinion. Starting to come together. I like that color. It's going to look good in the sun. Factory color. Metallic in it. It's going to look really good. Man, it actually looks like a different color on the video. It's lighter. On my refurbed marker lights are in place. So we need to get some wheels and tires on this bad boy. Big block's always been cold-blooded. nice lope to it. I get some looks pulling into the local cruise-in.
I think you're gonna piss a lot of people off.
They'll get over it, I'm sure. Time for a little video while this thing's up on our rack.
Porn over there.
Yeah, buddy. Motorhead porn. 3-inch exhaust. Little mid headers there. There's that 4L80E, baby. Hell to the yeah. It's a cameo appearance by Bob.
Price just doubled.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get up underneath here and just look at it all. All the Chevy enthusiasts are going, damn you. Ford 9-inch up under a Monte Carlo. Sweetness. Get some new wheels and stuff on it pretty. So, not sure if you were listening or not in that video, but there was a knock in the engine and they had to pull it out and it had to get rebuilt by Mr. Ambrosini. Yeah, those things happen. Mistakes sometimes get made. Sometimes motors just don't want to run the first time. But these are pictures that Bob with Man-Made took after the car was completed. And it turned out amazing, honestly. This car has, it wows people wherever it goes. We have run into some problems since it was delivered from North Carolina. With the full charge on the battery, it doesn't seem to want to start all the time. And we're thinking maybe with the powder coated frame, there might be a bad ground or something. But I mean, look at the interior on this thing. It's really nicely done. Those subs hit hard. Amps underneath that panel, carpeted panel, and then of course the compressor and tanks behind that vertical panel. But they finished the trunk really nice. The interior is just really well done. It's just an eye catcher, and that paint, it really changes color when you're in different lighting conditions. Car sounds good. For the most part, runs pretty good. I took it to Cruising the Coast in 2019. I did trailer it down there because I didn't really trust it being a new building with 0 miles basically on it. So yeah. What do you think? Summit Racing liked it enough to let me put it on the turntable. And it stayed up there about a month. Kyle helped me clean it up after we drove it in the rain. Here we are at Summit Racing Equipment in McDonough, Georgia. And people coming in. Big old parking lot over here where all the events happen. But if you look right there, what do we have here? Yep, that's my Monte Carlo. We just drove it in the rain after detailing it yesterday. It was perfect in the garage, and of course it rained today. So, now it's in the window, west window, doing little circles. Got it all cleaned up. People have already said nice car that have been coming in and out.
while Colin and I detailed it. So there she is, shining and pretty. Got the battery unhooked so it won't drain down. Good to go.